After the breakup, I decisively quit my job and was preparing to move abroad when suddenly, at the airport, my ex-girlfriend and former boss showed up to win me back. She said she had fired the assistant, and from now on, I would be the second in command at the company. But as I gave up on going abroad and was about to head back with her, she let go of my hand and, in a cutesy voice, called the assistant, saying, "Steven, you won the bet. This loser actually thought I'd take him back." Then she gave me a cold smile and said, "Just kidding. You believed that? If you want to go, go ahead. Nobody's stopping you this time." Colleagues around laughed at me like I was a dog, always ready to run back at her command. What they didn't know was that giving up on going abroad was because my new company had just completed a takeover, and I would be their new CEO. When my ex-girlfriend Gina smugly told me the attempt to win me back was just a joke, I wasn't angry. I simply took out my phone to book a ride home. Colleagues jeered at me, saying, "Nick, the CEO already said she doesn't want you. What's the holdup? Go ahead and rebook that flight. Didn't you say you had an offer abroad? What happened? They don't want you anymore." Gina indulged their taunts with no intention of stopping them. Such oppressive workplace bullying had often surrounded me in the past few years. I used to argue back, feeling aggrieved, wondering why my girlfriend, the CEO, wouldn't defend me. But now I felt nothing, like watching a clown show. "My business, not yours," I said flatly, and Gina let out a cold snort, eyeing me with disdain. "Still talking big? With your capabilities, if it wasn't for me taking care of you all these years, you'd probably starve. Going abroad? That's a joke." Yes, I, a top university graduate, had given up a high-paying job that others dreamt of, working with her from scratch. And to Gina, I was nothing, relying on her support to get by. I almost laughed. I once loved Gina intensely, and even though I was a manager after decades' effort, I had no complaints. Until she repeatedly took my projects and handed them to a new assistant, Steven, and even blamed his mistakes on me, making me the scapegoat. She used that to cut my pay and suspend me, while promoting and raising Steven's salary. That was when I woke up and realized this one-sided relationship had to end. So, I resigned on the spot and broke up with her, deciding to pursue opportunities abroad. I didn't expect her to pull a stunt like this at the airport. Yet I wasn't upset, just puzzled. How blind I was to have loved such a woman. Shaking my head, I was done with words. "You're right. Can I go now?" I sidestepped Gina to leave, but she suddenly grabbed my hand firmly, saying with disdain, "Still acting? The abroad excuse is busted. I'm giving you a chance for old time's sake. Come back with me, and I'll make you Steven's assistant." Seeing her put on a gracious air, I finally understood her true intentions. Outwardly, it was a bet with Steven to see if I'd take the bait. In reality, it was to keep me in the company, slaving away for her and Steven. Gina indeed had Steven's future well planned, with promotions, pay raises, and someone to mentor him. Meanwhile, I was the one who helped her reach her boss dreams. But she stripped everything away from me without hesitation to make way for Steven. I laughed coldly. Steven lacks the skills to even deserve my help. Gina's face darkened instantly. "Nick, it seems I've spoiled you too much over the years." No sooner had she finished speaking than a figure approached from a distance. "Gina." Instantly, Gina turned gentle, going to greet him. "Steven." Steven was the only one in the company who called Gina by her first name, while even I had no such privilege. Steven glanced at me and laughed. "See, I knew Nick was bluffing about going abroad. He didn't leave after all." Gina shot me a look filled with disdain, saying, "Some people think too highly of themselves, believing the company can't function without them. Not like you, Steven, skilled yet humble. If he misses an opportunity, so be it. Let's go." Steven, however, tugged on Gina's arm, pleading, "Gina, we can't leave yet. Ever since Nick quit, my watch has been missing, the one from my grandmother." As he spoke, he suddenly turned to me, pleading, "Nick, would you please return it?" Before I could grasp the situation, Gina glared at me angrily. "Nick, you stole something?" As I began to deny, Gina cut me off coldly. "Don't try to deny it. Would Steven falsely accuse you? You don't have a job now, who knows if you wouldn't stoop to petty theft." Then she ordered a few people, open his suitcase. Check it. I stared at Gina in disbelief. After 10 years together, knowing my character, she would publicly search my suitcase because of Steven's baseless accusation? When she made that mean joke, I didn't argue with her. But now this near-bullying behavior ignited my anger. Not disappointment or heartbreak, just rage and disgust. Stop! I shouted angrily, while Steven feigned innocence. Nick, why get upset? Did you really take it? Gina looked at me with even more contempt, signaling 2 men to hold me back as she coldly ordered, "Ignore him, search on." Watching my suitcase spilled out, private items scattered, I was furious and screamed for airport security to stop them. They reluctantly stopped, and Steven looked disappointed. Didn't find it. Forget it. Let's not make it hard on Nick. He's having a tough time. Gina shot me a sharp glance. Looks like someone stole and sold it. Then she said gently, "It's okay, Steven. I'll go with you to buy a new one." As she left, she gave me a cold look. "Nick, don't come begging to me when you're out on the streets in the future." With that, she left with a group and Steven gave me a taunting look. I didn't say anything, just smirked inwardly. They didn't know the company's project was about to fail and would soon be acquired. I'd given up going abroad because the new company appointed me as the CEO. The headquarters of my new company is overseas, and it's a well-known big enterprise. Back when I was about to graduate, I got an offer because of my excellent grades. But Gina persuaded me to stay and start a business with her, so I turned it down. After I broke up with Gina, they immediately called and invited me to join. But just as I was about to board the plane, I got a call that their subsidiary here decided to acquire this place, including Gina's company. They decided to make me the new CEO. After I put my luggage down at home, I arranged to meet Felix, the local head. I got to the restaurant early, not expecting to see Gina and Steven laughing together until they noticed me. Gina paused and then walked over with a look of irritation. "Nick, why are you stalking me like some kind of sticky plaster? Weren't you acting tough earlier? Regret it now?" Before I could speak, Steven chimed in cheerfully, "Gina, with so many people around, Nick probably couldn't admit he was wrong. How about this, Nick? Apologize to Gina, and I'm sure she'll give you a job." Gina looked at me irritably, pretending to be difficult. "Since Steven's pleading for you, it's not impossible. Drink this bottle of wine and I'll let you be my assistant." She pointed to the wine on the table. I chuckled inwardly. Gina knew I had a stomach issue and couldn't drink, but she was just playing games to make me cave in. But she miscalculated. "I'm waiting for someone," I said. "Waiting for someone? Ha, your stubborn mouth." Gina sneered. "I've known you for years. Don't think I don't know your little tricks. You just think it's beneath you to be Steven's assistant. But in this day and age, what's pride worth?" Just then, Felix arrived, greeting me with a handshake. "Sorry, Nick, for keeping you waiting." I ignored Gina and shook hands with Felix. "Let's talk inside. Too many flies buzzing around here." "Sure," he replied. Gina looked at me incredulously. I was about to head to the private room with Felix when I heard Steven say to Gina, "Seems like Nick's meeting a headhunter." "Huh?" A moment later, Gina stopped me, sneering, "Nick, so you'd rather job hunt than ask me? Just so you know, given your past performance, I've told everyone in the industry not to hire you. Regret it yet?" She looked at me, expecting me to come crawling back. But she was wrong. Gina didn't have the power to threaten me anymore, especially with Steven taking over major projects and driving the company to the edge of bankruptcy without her knowing. I calmly said, "Gina, confidence is good, but when your company's acquired in bankruptcy, hope you keep that attitude." "Nick, you!" Gina spat, pivoting to Felix. She handed him a business card, arrogantly saying, "Gina, Group President." Nick was an ex-employee with bad conduct, just fired. I'd advise caution in hiring. After throwing me a look, she left with Steven in tow, Felix frowning at her card. "Well, he started. Just a clown," I smiled. Felix tossed the card into the trash, and we discussed acquiring Gina's company. We talked about exploiting the project crisis and taking them over cheaply. Felix then brought out an original employee list for me to revise. I knew each person's skills and agreed to get it done quickly. After meeting Felix, I went home, only to find Gina sitting on my couch, legs crossed, staring coldly at me. I frowned. "What are you doing here?" I glanced at the door. Turns out, I forgot to remove her fingerprints after the breakup. Gina didn't answer, just snapped, "Who told you my company's going bankrupt?" Changing my shoes, I ignored her. She looked even more irritated. "Just like you wanted, the company has gone under." I raised an eyebrow, surprised by Felix's efficiency from morning to afternoon. Gina continued, "Even though I don't know how you found out, don't celebrate too soon. The buyer will fix past issues, and I'll stay in management." I made tea, unfazed since I knew the existing staff were staying until I optimized the list. "So?" I asked nonchalantly. Gina glared. "Give Steven your previous client contacts, and I'll find you a manager position in the new company. You need to know, with the head office's support, the group is only going to get stronger. I'm giving you your managerial role back, and that's quite a valuable offer." I suddenly laughed. She said it so confidently, as if she was giving me a huge favor. But I knew all too well that once the company got acquired, Felix went ahead and released my development plans. One of the points was that after taking up the new role, I'd get positions based on merit. The reason Gina wanted me was just to leverage my past client resources so Steven could prove himself and secure his VP spot. Gotta admit, her love for Steven runs deep. Too bad. She bet on the wrong horse. "Gina, you're pretty naive." My words made Gina's face drop, and she suddenly got up, walking toward me step by step. She looked at me with those eyes as if she'd seen right through me. "Nick, I know you're still jealous of Steven. You're upset about why I changed towards you, but treat Steven so well? But I hope you understand, we're not equals anymore. I'm the boss now, the capitalist, and you're just an employee. A boyfriend like you doesn't match me anymore. But Steven, he brings me new excitement and makes me feel like a woman. You can't compare to him." Gina looked deep into my eyes, her voice unusually gentle. "I'll give you just one night to think it over." With that, she turned and left. I shook my head, feeling resigned. I quickly deleted her fingerprint, then opened my computer and sent over the layoff list for the next day. The next morning, I officially started at the company. As I entered, my colleagues were all buzzing about the acquisition. Gina was on cue, painting a rosy picture for everyone. She said she'd still be in the management team, and as long as everyone worked hard, things would stay the same. Until someone noticed me, her eyes suddenly lit up. She walked over to me with a smug tone, like she had expected me. "Changed your mind? Ready to give Steven those client files?" I chuckled and shook my head. Gina's face turned serious, about to say something when Steven jumped in with a laugh. "Nick, what's with the attitude? If you're not going to hand over the client info, why are you here? Don't tell me you're here to work." His words made the others laugh. I raised an eyebrow and nodded. "I'm just here to work." That sent them into fits of laughter again, pointing. "Work? More like here looking for a job. 'Cause our company's been bought out? In your dreams. Nick, weren't you going abroad? Why are you applying here now?" Ha! I was about to reply, but Gina cut me off harshly. "Nick, are you done yet? I've already given you a chance by handing the client files to Steven. Why are you so stubborn? Didn't you understand anything from what I said yesterday? Do you enjoy being jobless?" I shook my head, feeling helpless. "Gina, the one who's going to be jobless is you. You should really start planning ahead." Gina looked at me and suddenly laughed derisively. "Look at this Nick, has he gone mad? Telling me to plan ahead? Come on, I was this company's former boss and you think you can fire me? Nick, do you seriously think I won't stop you from even getting a janitorial job?" No sooner had she finished those words, two men showed up at the entrance. They were the ones Felix sent over to help me with the company's restructuring. Recognizing them, Gina's face shifted. She quickly put on a smile and approached. "Mike, you're here. Have you seen our new president yet? I'd like to welcome them." Mike glanced at her, said nothing, and came straight to me, nodding respectfully. Then he introduced me to everyone. "This is our company's new president, Nick." In that moment, Gina's smile froze on her face, and she couldn't help but ask, "Mike, is this some kind of joke?" This Nick's just a useless nobody. How could... Suddenly, Mike pulled out the layoff list I personally prepared yesterday and slapped it in her face. Pointing at her and Steven, he said coldly, "You two are fired. Pack up and get out." Gina picked up the list in disbelief. After reading it, her face turned pale. She stared at me, her voice shaking. "How could this be? Nick, how are you the president? Are you joking with me?" Mike impatiently frowned at Gina. "Kidding? Why would Nick joke with you? Nick is a top talent selected by the headquarters, sent here specifically to be the new president. I know Nick was your former employee, but too bad you didn't see his worth." His words left Gina too shocked to speak. Even the watching former colleagues looked at me with stunned faces. Who would have thought that someone they once bullied at work would become their boss one day? In an instant, people snapped out of it and rushed to shake my hand. Nick, I didn't mean what I said earlier. I'm sorry. It was Gina making us put you down." "Yeah, Nick, I've always thought you were the most capable one here." They all started flattering and apologizing. No trace of their past ugly attitudes towards me. Of course, I knew they were scared I'd fire them too, since jobs aren't easy to come by these days. But I wasn't going to do that just yet. Otherwise, it'd look like I was using my power for personal revenge. Even layoffs need a reasonable and legal basis to minimize losses. As for Gina and Steven, they were at the top of this rotten heap and had to leave immediately. Facing a situation she could no longer control, Gina panicked. She looked at me, then suddenly rushed forward, pushing others aside, grabbing my hand tightly. Soft, helpless voice. "Nick, how could you be so cruel to me? I'm your girlfriend. I've been by your side for 10 years, and I truly love you. If it wasn't for me, you might not have become the CEO. Can't we just make up? Please?" Looking at Gina's eager eyes, I suddenly thought back to when I accidentally made our relationship public. She was furious with me. Once our relationship was out in the open, and we couldn't hide it anymore, she went so far as to ban any discussion of us in the company and even docked all my bonuses and incentives for that month to appear impartial. Now, seeing her publicly beg for us to reconcile, it's clear she's really panicking. I smirked cynically. "Gina, honestly, do you think that's possible?" The answer was clear without me even saying it. Everyone, including her, knew the answer. The grievances I endured in the company could justify firing her 1,000 times over. There's no chance of reconciliation, especially with Steven in the picture. Gina got anxious, glancing at Steven before blurting out desperately, "Nick, everything in the past was because you spoiled me. I had no boundaries. I'll change slowly if you let me stay. Fire Steven instead. He's always taking credit for your work and bad-mouthing you. It's all his fault." Then, she glared at Steven and yelled, "Steven, why aren't you leaving? Nick took the fall for your mistakes last time. How many projects have you ruined since he left? You're a failure. Get out." Everyone was stunned by this sudden outburst. Even Steven, his lips quivering, eyes turning red. He asked, trembling with disbelief, "Gina, you..." "Shut up. Why are you calling me Gina? Am I your sister? I'm your boss." Gina gave Steven no mercy. Watching this unfold, I was surprised but not entirely shocked. Gina was always self-centered. She was all about her own interests. Back when we graduated, I had a promising future ahead, but she forced me to start a business with her, threatening to break up if I didn't comply. She just wanted to be an entrepreneur, to be in charge. And now, facing pressure from me, she was ready to ditch Steven without a second thought. "Nick, do you see my sincerity? I've always loved you. I can't be fired. This company is our hard work. You can't leave me," she whimpered, her beautiful eyes brimming with tears. Before, I would have surrendered to her wishes. But now I said coldly, "Both of you, get out. I'm not saying it twice. It's work time. I won't waste it on this personal nonsense." Within moments, security moved in, dragging Gina and Steven out. Colleagues quickly gathered their things and tossed them at the company entrance. After dealing with the two headaches, I felt a little more settled. "Everyone, get back to your desks and have this quarter's tasks on my desk by lunch." After organizing, I headed back to the office. It originally belonged to Gina. Her things were cleared out by the staff. I wasn't interested in using the stuff she left behind. I placed an order online for new office supplies. As noon approached, a colleague knocked and slipped in. "Boss, there's a scene at the entrance you might want to see." He handed me a video. Watching it, I saw Gina and Steven being dragged out. Steven was furious, demanding why she had turned on him. Gina, switching from her selfish tone, touched his face gently, whispered, "I had no choice. Between us, one had to stay to save the other. Who knew Nick would be so ungrateful?" Steven, hurt but softened, asked, "Gina, do you mean it?" She kissed him lightly, of course. In a persuasive voice, she said, "Be good. Go home first, I'll think of something." Steven pinned her against the wall, kissed her deeply before finally agreeing. The video ended. The colleague whispered, "Boss, be careful with Gina. She betrayed you ages ago. We couldn't say it when she was in charge. But it's been brewing for 3 years. I didn't know what to feel, just that it was absurd. So many years of love. And what did I really love?" I dismissed him, refocusing on work. That evening, coming home, I was suddenly embraced, breath hot against my face. "Nick," a woman's soft voice. Hands roamed over me, pushing me inside. I switched on the light, pushing her away. Gina stood there, looking hurt. "Nick, what are you doing?" I felt nothing but disgust. Yesterday, at this same hour, she sat on my sofa, waiting, demanding client information as if she still ruled. But now she's using these tricks to seduce me again. How many faces does this woman have that I haven't seen yet? Get lost. Gina, however, latched onto me once more. Nick, can you really let go of me? I love you. I've given you my youth. You can't be so heartless. You're just jealous of Steven, aren't you? I already ditched him, so why are you being like this? If I hadn't seen that video at noon, I might have believed her. Of course, I had no intention of getting back together with her. I just wouldn't be surprised by anything she does. Gina, we broke up. Can you stop pestering me? I said, holding back my anger. Gina cried even harder. Have you forgotten the promises you made to me? You said you'd love me forever. Remember? Nick, forgive me just this once. Just once. She pleaded, pulling out a small box from her pocket. Inside was an exquisite watch. She looked at me earnestly. This watch is custom made. I didn't give it to Steven. I'm giving it to you. You're the only man for me. The watch brought back memories of her having people hold me down and forcibly open my suitcase at the airport. My face instantly turned cold. I'll say it again. Get lost. Gina looked at me, shocked and a bit angry. She snatched the watch away and snapped, Nick, just you wait, then stormed off in a fury. I didn't hear from Gina for the next few days. Meanwhile, my company was up and running smoothly, thanks to support from the headquarters. I also hired some competent staff to handle business matters, cutting loose the former useless colleagues. That day, right after a morning meeting, Steven suddenly called. As soon as I picked up, he started yelling, Nick, where's Gina? What did you do to her? She's had her phone off. No replies for days. You bastard. I furrowed my brow, responding coldly. Are you like a mad dog just barking aimlessly? I don't know where Gina is. He immediately denied. That's a lie. Gina went to see you and never came back. If you don't come clean, I'm calling the cops. He hung up after that. I didn't bother with him. Even if the police got involved, it wouldn't concern me. But Mike, who came to report work, overheard and couldn't help but mention. I last saw Gina with Felix. They seemed pretty close. I frowned. Felix was the contact sent by the headquarters. Why would Gina be involved with him? Before I could ask, Mike clarified. Gina had been trying to seduce Felix, either drugging him or otherwise. They've been seen together frequently lately. Mike even sent me a video of them dining together, expressing concern. Not sure if Gina has any plans for the company again. Felix runs the domestic branch while I'm from the overseas branch. This makes things tricky. I nodded, acknowledging him, and sent the video to Steven. He was worried about Gina, wasn't he? Let him see how she's been cozying up to someone else. That night, drama unfolded. After discussions with Mike over a nearby project, we were heading to eat when we saw Gina being dragged out by her hair by an elegantly dressed middle-aged woman, her stylish clothes in tatters. An audience had gathered, snapping photos, while Felix remained unseen. "You homewrecker. Seducing my husband. You whore. Who do you think you are? You're just a fling. What more do you want? Get out." As Gina stood, battered and bruised, she spotted Stephen, launching into a tirade. "Stephen, this is your fault. Have you not ruined me enough? I finally got with Felix and you stabbed me in the back." Stephen slapped her hard, his face twisted with rage. "And you dare blame me? You told me you were asking Nick for assistance. Now I find you with an older man? I called you so many times. I almost begged others to find you, and you betrayed me." Bleeding from her lip, she glared at Stephen and lunged at him, clawing his face. "If it weren't for you, would Nick have broken up with me? You're just a kept man. Who I sleep with is none of your business. We were just a fling. Did you really think you were my man?" Gina, having practiced boxing with me for 2 years, went at Stephen with fury. Under her blows and humiliating words, he lashed out, punching her repeatedly. The scene was oddly satisfying to me. A dog-eat-dog drama indeed. The police arrived, separating and taking them away, dispersing the crowd. A week later, Gina was released while Stephen remained detained. Their story didn't interest me until a month later at a business collaboration event. There I saw her again. Gina clung to an older man's arm, acting like the lady of the house. Not Felix but John, a potential business partner. "Fancy meeting you here, Nick. I heard you're interested in my husband's project. If you kneel and beg, maybe I'll consider it," she taunted. I frowned at her. Gina still looked stunning, yet carried an indescribable allure. She eyed me haughtily, like before when she had me wrapped around her finger. I ignored her entirely. I heard from a friend that Gina managed to win over John in just a week. I thought it was fishy. John's known in the industry as someone who's all about profit. Given his age, experience, and social status, he's seen all kinds of women. Why would he go for Gina? I had someone look into it. Sure enough, there was something shady going on. After Gina got involved with John, their company quickly snagged several projects. These projects had originally been in talks with Felix. With some more digging, I found out Gina had stolen trade secrets from Felix. She used it as leverage to make a deal with John. I wasn't going to let this slide. I gathered the evidence and took it right to court, suing Gina for stealing trade secrets. When Gina found out, she stormed into my office, demanding answers. She was furious, shouting, "Nick, come out here. You lowlife. What did I ever do to you for you to screw me over like this?" I must have been blind to ever get involved with such a disgusting man. When I came out, she tried to push past security to get to me. But I just looked at her coldly. "Gina, you brought this on yourself. If you're truly innocent, why cause such a scene?" By now, I only felt disgust and revulsion towards Gina. What a selfish, ruthless woman. I'd wasted 10 years on her. "Get her out of here," I ordered, then went back to work. A week later, the court ruled, and Gina got 5 years. Felix, because of his connection to Gina, was suspended by headquarters, and I took over his responsibilities. Coming out of the courthouse, just as I was about to get in my car, a limping figure approached me. It was Stephen. His once handsome face was now scruffy and worn, with a deep scar. I frowned, wondering if it might have been from the altercation with Gina on the street. But his leg. "Yeah, I was a top graduate, gave up a dream job. I took your projects, framed you, and took your place." "I'm sorry," Stephen said. "These days in jail, I've done a lot of reflecting. Gina got what she deserved, and so did I. I wish you all the best." I was bewildered by Stephen's sudden apology. What was he getting at? Tears suddenly welled up in his eyes as he spoke, his voice choking. "I once loved her so much, thinking taking her from you meant I'd have everything. Turns out I was just a fool." He finished, chuckled bitterly, and walked away. I never saw Stephen again after that. Gina sent messages through people, hoping I'd visit her, saying she was lonely. I didn't bother. We were like strangers now. Her life had nothing to do with me anymore. 5 years later, I'd led the company to multiply its market value and was appointed as the head of national operations. My career was thriving. I later heard from mutual friends that Gina was released. She had some mental issues and was taken back to her hometown, where she got married and had kids. My future continues on. For the rest of my life, I just want to live for myself.